If you don't believe that, I highly recommend that you not do photography as a business. Hi, Neil Spears here, photography mentor, commercial photographer. In fact, I've done most every kind of photography other than maybe crime scene photography for the police. I've done crime scenes for newspapers. Anyways, all that aside, welcome to the channel today. How you doing? Wanted to talk to you today about a question that a lot of beginners and a lot of intermediate people ask about the business of photography. And the same could be applied to any freelance life type career. So, how much do I charge? Let's run through an idea how to figure out what your worth is. Now, I'm going based on a minimum viable pricing scheme. This is the amount that you need to make a living. So, let's start with that, okay? First of all, what do you need to make to replace income from a decent job? Maybe not a fantastic job, maybe not the world's best job, but a decent job. If you got a decent job, how much would you make a year? 20, 30, 40, 60,000, 100,000? What is your consideration of a decent job? Your lifestyle probably reflects that decent job. So that's what you need to make personally from doing photography. Then there's the business side. How much is it going to cost you to do the business? Everything from registering business names, incorporating if you're making enough to make it worthwhile incorporating. Honestly, if you're going to make less than 30,000 a year, or until you make 30,000 a year, I wouldn't incorporate, because the cost of doing it and the paperwork involved just isn't worth the price of incorporating. But once you've hit that threshold, then it starts to make sense. So anyways, accounting fees. Get an accountant to do your taxes, because if you get audited, they go to bat for you. That itself is worth a lot of money. If the tax department has any questions, they can answer it for you. You don't have to be bothered for it. You don't have to go digging in your files. That's worth it right there. Not to mention my accountant finds me money that I had no idea was available. So she regularly pays for herself. What is it going to cost you to do business? Insurance. There's the cost of equipment to get set up. Now you probably have some already, but you're going to need to buy more, undoubtedly. You will find more things that you need in order to offset some of the problems that you run into while you're on shoots. You're going to be going, geez, I wish I had a... If you say that more than a couple of times, you better buy it. Computer. We all need computers, and the more photography you do, you're going to need more hard drives, because if a computer file is not in 3 places, it likely does not exist at the blink of an eye. It will disappear, it will go away, and you will never get it back, because that's how computers are. Software, hard drives, monitors. You can see I've got 2 monitors running. You know, all those little things that will add up over time. Sit and figure out what you need to be running effectively. Now, at first, a laptop is fine. I ran for years with a laptop. I did all my retouching on it. It was a powerful laptop. I run Photoshop now. You're going to have to get Photoshop and Lightroom. I highly recommend both of those. When I got Lightroom, it cut my editing for weddings down from, I think it was 20 hours to about 4 or 5 hours to get the initial edit done. Yeah, it makes that big a difference. You're gonna have to get the program. Now, luckily, $10 a month isn't that much, but you got to account for that. Gas for your car, insurance on your car. You're probably gonna have to upgrade your insurance to a commercial insurance. So stop and go through all of those things that you're going to need on a daily basis. Imagine yourself doing different kinds of photo shoots. What are you going to need to do those photo shoots? You'd better account for that. Account for replacing equipment, because camera bodies do die. You're going to want bigger and faster lenses. You're going to want newer flash systems. Think about the kinds of photo shoots that you want to do and what you'll need to do that. Okay, sit down with a spreadsheet or a piece of paper for a day and go through all of those costs. Try and get every one of them for a year's cost. What is it going to take? Now, income side. What are you going to make? You have to take how many projects you can do in a year, reasonably. Now, there's two things to that. One is that whatever you think is a reasonable amount of time to do a job, double it and add 10%. And if you think that the client's going to be a problem, add 25%. That seems to work every time. We don't account for things in our time like answering the phone calls, answering emails, answering text messages, all about that particular project. You don't account for those times when you have to sort out files, you have to reload something. There's just a million things that happen while you're working that double the amount of time it takes. And then understand that you're going to spend half your time at least doing marketing, sales, phone calls to line up jobs, all of those things that need to be done is going to take up at least half your time. You've got half the year to make that income. How many jobs can you do in half a year based on what I just said about doubling your time for every project? Now you've got an idea. If it's one major photo shoot per day for 26 weeks out of the year times 5, or is it going to be 2 or 3 decent photo shoots of families and family portraits and personal portrait or headshots? Are you going to do weddings? Weddings are a huge time suck. If you're doing a wedding, you've got probably 12 to 14 hours of the day of the wedding. You've got 20 hours of editing photos, and then you've got probably 4 to 6 hours just doing the sale, getting the print order. Hopefully you're making prints because digital files don't make you any money. If you do sell digital images, you have to make your money on the photo shoot. Keep that in mind. So how many shoots can you do in a year reasonably? Understand at first you're not going to get that many. You're probably going to be looking pretty desperately for work. But we're figuring out, once you're up and running and getting a good stream of income, how many photo shoots can you do reasonable in a year? You know, you're gonna not be working all the time. At first, probably quarter to a third of the time. Don't worry about that. We're figuring out what you can reasonably do in a year once you're getting a steady stream of clients. And then you divide how much you need to make from your other column by the number of shoots that you can make, and that is your minimum pricing for photography. Now, I'm not talking about freebies. You know, your brother needs a headshot, so you do it real quick. I'm not talking about charity work. Don't do charity for exposure. I love the expression, people die of exposure. Exposure almost never works. So don't do photography for exposure. Do it to build your portfolio and do it to support a good cause that you support personally. Those are two very good reasons to do free shots. Your time is valuable. You're taking time away from your family, from your friends, from other things that you love. You're taking time away from a profitable career. If you were making regular money at a day job, you've now taken that money away. You've got to make it up. So that is how you have to look at money. Your time is valuable. People can and will pay you for your time if you provide the photography that they need. And sometimes that photography isn't so much about the photography, but it's about making them feel good about themselves. If you're a boudoir photographer, it's all about making the person feel really good and sexy and worthy of being wanted. That's the whole job. And you get images as well. If you're a product photographer, do you make those photos make people want to get that item? Does it accurately depict that item? You know, those are all the things that your expertise comes into place for. So your time is valuable and it is worthy of getting paid for. And if you don't believe that, I highly recommend that you not do photography as a business. Enjoy yourself, go out and do free photography, but don't try and sell your photography if you don't believe your photography is valuable, because it is. Your time is valuable. Your expertise, your personality, those are all valuable commodities that help other people get what they need, and that's what you're doing. How much do you need to make at a minimum over a year with replacing your income as a job and paying for all the stuff that you need for business, divided by how many photo shoots you can reasonably do in a year? is your minimum charge. Hope you enjoyed. So please hit the like button, hit the follow button if you haven't already, hit the notification bell if you haven't, because I am going to be doing more of these, and I'd love to see in the comments other subjects that you'd love me to talk about. Please leave them in the comments. Also, in the description, I will have a download of a PDF of input costs that you can start to go by. And that'll get you going on pricing. So thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.